Welcome to my Shear Druid endgame build guide. In my opinion, the best druid build to start your hardcore soul self-found journey with. It is tanky, ranged, and straightforward. It also does not require any non-boss related random drop uniques to work. I pushed tower 123 with it on hardcore SSF ladder, and you can do so as well. When it comes to damage, this build is a bit behind the popular Lightning Stormbear build, but unlike that build, it does not rely on a backed snapshotting interaction. More importantly, what it lacks in damage, it makes up in its utility and speed farming potential. I don't suppose it will be nerfed anytime soon, so if you ever wanted to try hardcore SSF, then I cannot recommend any other druid build more than this one. It farms T12 with ease and allows you to safely farm up all the gear you'd ever want to experiment with some other more demanding builds. Also, if for any reason you ever dreamt of becoming an actual in-game teleporting turret, now you can! Just look at this beauty of a bear pretending to be bow lightning itself. In this video, I will explain the core mechanics of this build while focusing on the endgame variant of it. If you would like to try this build on your own, then please visit my Mobalytics written guide page for it and use the starter variant before you proceed further. So now, let's get started with the build overview. The central part of this build is the sheer amount of wind shear projectiles we throw out. We don't hit hard, but we hit with so many things at once that our enemies don't stand a chance. To min-max on this credo of ours, we do a few things. First, we reach our 100% attack speed cap by having 20% attack speed on our items, gaining 20% attack speed from ferocity stacks which we gain from the Overload Spirit boon, equipping the aspect of the Moonrise which also grants us 20% attack speed, and having our wolves grant us the remaining 40% whenever they crit, which is always. We also have 35% increased cast speed, which works the same as attack speed but goes beyond the standard 100% attack speed cap. Lastly, but very importantly, we utilize the Storm Shepherd charm set for its 5-piece bonus that gives us a chance to double or sometimes even triple the amount of projectiles we cast. By reaching those 3 goals, we will be throwing multiple projectiles each second while we casually hold down our wind shear button. What's best is that our wind missiles even home in on our enemies as our wind shear solar wind upgrade makes them do so. It also simultaneously grants our wind shear a chance to spawn dancing bolts whenever it hits an enemy and makes one projectile hit one enemy up to even 4 times. What's important to notice though is that while our wind shear deals physical damage, the dancing bolts it spawns deal lightning damage. This, combined with the Autumnal Crown unique helmet that also makes our wind shear apply poison dot, require us to scale all damage multiplier instead of a specific 1 damage type multiplier, like lightning or physical. Keep in mind that until you have all damage multipliers on your gear, then physical damage is the best thing in slot. We follow this rule of all damage multiplier when it comes to the glyphs we use in our bargain boards. We don't want them to specify the damage type they boost and instead apply to all our damage in general. The only exception is the outmatch glyph that we use because of a lack of a better option. When it comes to scaling our damage so that all those projectiles we send actually begin to hurt, we use a few techniques. First, Autumnal Crown second passive works extremely well with the 2-piece set bonus of Storm Shepherd unique charm set. It grants us a chance to restore 100 spirit whenever our wind shear projectiles hit an enemy. In practice, it makes it so that whenever we stand still and throw a bunch of wind shears into the air, we get to a point where there are so many projectiles hitting our enemies non-stop that we recover our spirit to full almost every second. This in turn scales our damage super well because we constantly regain a big damage multiplier from the storm set. Please note that later in the endgame, we also generate spirit with the use of the Dirge of Erda unique ring that grants us spirit whenever wind shear hits a target. It is not necessarily needed, but for sure works better for harder endgame content than just a standard legendary ring. Secondly, we equip uniques that scale our basic skill damage extremely well. Shard of Varathiel grants us a massive damage multiplier as compared to a typical one-handed legendary weapon. Paingorger's gauntlets synergize super well with our homing missiles, as each time each single wind shear projectile hits our enemies, the damage proliferates to all enemies around us. This makes wind shear the best druid basic skill to work with Paingorger's. To proc this effect reliably, we run around with Lightning Storm on, as with our Storm set it does not cost us any spirit. In the endgame, we also add Fists of Fate to our setup as a unique charm. It works really well because with so many projectiles out, we often get huge damage boosts from its random multiplier. Lastly, something which is standard for all Bear Druid builds, we both make sure to make use of resolve stacking with the Might of the Urusai ring. By having 30 resolve stacks at all time, we gain a massive 390% damage multiplier from that one ring. We get those stacks by just pressing Debilitating Roar whenever it is off cooldown. Have Grizzly Rage up all the time. We don't have any ult downtime because of all the lucky hits we get from all Wind Shear, Lightning Storm and Hurricane combined. So, before moving to the defense side of things, it is best I explain why I chose Bear to be the form for this build. Most importantly, Bear has superior defenses as compared to Wolf or Human, so it works best for builds that want to thrive in a hardcore SSF environment. Second of all, in the endgame variant of this build, we use two unique pairs of gloves, one being Paingorger's and the other one being Fists of Fate as our unique charm. This means we would not be able to use Dark Howl gloves, and that will make Werewolf to be even squishier for us than it is for other builds. Also, because we use Autumnal Crown, we don't need the other ways in which werewolves can generate spirit, so picking Bear and using the Might of the Urusai ring is superior in damage overall. With this being sorted, let's come back to the defense now, in which we maintain 100% Irvin Bulwark uptime with Pock Cure Runeward, as we constantly spend spirit on our Wind Shear because of Shard of Varathiel and because of Lightning Storm and Hurricane, which we constantly have turned on. Gain a massive over 100% bonus to all resistances from the Greater Cyclone Armor upgrade that we can pick without sacrificing anything else because we are ranged, so we don't need to use its other upgrades to pull in our enemies. Importantly, we don't even need to put Cyclone Armor on our skill bar because the 3-part Storm set grants us Cyclone Armor for free. Apply Weaken with Hurricane to anyone who dares to move close to us. With just these few techniques alone and being a bear in general, we run with above 11 million toughness rating in the endgame, making us almost unkillable in T12 environment. When it comes to tower pushing though, remember that in hardcore mistakes can cost you everything. While we are safe in Torment 12, on higher tower levels we need to dodge the most dangerous mechanics always. Unlike me on my previous character on whom I felt so tanky that I decided to not care about dodging. Lastly, when it comes to our mobility, for our speed farming setup we can become a teleporting demon turret. For it to work, we equip the metamorphosis aspect on our amulet. It turns us into a bat whenever we evade, granting us a small teleport. We reset its cooldown by having an affix on our boots that make our attacks reduce the cooldown of our evade. By additionally having around 60% cooldown reduction, we can make it so that whenever we attack, we immediately reset our evade cooldown. We add a Jarun on top of that to occasionally TP twice and BAM! We teleport around while firing projectiles non-stop by just holding Shift plus Wind Shear and pressing space to evade around each second. The starter version of this build is very straightforward and doesn't require much to begin functioning. The key things we need to make Wind Shear work properly are Paingorger's gauntlets, which we can quite easily obtain early on from farming Grigori and Helltide after we acquired our first Lair Boss Warplan node. This item is the biggest boost to our clear capabilities we can get. Autumnal Crown and at least 2 Storm Shepherd set charms, as with this combo we don't need to worry about having Lightning Storm and Hurricane on all the time. This makes for an absolutely easy time with farming Lair bosses, as we just prioritize Grigori until we get Paingorger's gauntlets, after which we immediately switch to Varshan to farm Autumnal Crown and Shard of Varathiel. After we obtain the above and move to farming greater Lair bosses, we only spam Harbinger of Hatred to get the Might of the Urusai ring. If you want to see what are my recommended legendary aspects in the starter variant of this build, then please check it out in the written guide on Mobalytics. For now, I was able to clear tower 123 with this build without any mythics nor transfigurations, and I believe that with best in slot gear, Windshear can push above tower 130. If I achieve this goal, then I will include this information in the written guide and in a comment below this video. This build is also capable of utilizing the freeze mechanics of Azure Wrath, but after my testing I would say it worked worse than going for extra damage with Fists of Fate. If anyone would experiment with this and think otherwise, then please let me know. I'm curious to see what you will find out about this setup. In the meantime, I'm going to use the strength of this build to farm up some gear for more ambitious builds. I'm hoping to create a Righteous Fire build of some sort, so I'll keep you updated on that. If you're interested in following this build guide, then please use my written instructions. There I include all the different build variants I deem viable and I explain all the mechanics in depth. The link is in the video's description. I'm now going to leave you with some more gameplay of this build. For now, thank you for watching and until next time, see you.